Disclaimer. None of the songs, including intro, artworks, including thumbnail, or characters in the video are mine. This is not an accurate portrayal of the characters. This is not a defamation of character either. This is only for entertainment. Warning. Foul language, grammatical mistakes, typographical errors. Okay, I think I'm ready. Iwaizumi breathed out as he shook his hands and stretched, moving his head side to side. Then he paused. What am I gonna do again? I'm sorry. I'm just nervous. Hanamaki rolled his eyes as Matsukoa massaged his temples. Like we said, there's nothing to be nervous about. There's nothing to be nervous about. Got it? Of course. I'm only about to confess my non-platonic feelings to my platonic best friend who's been my platonic best friend ever since I could remember. Risking our friendshipness and destroying our relationship, and he's going to feel awkward now and uncomfortable with me and breathe. Iwa, just breathe. Iwaizumi spoke so much so fast that he's now out of breath. Come on. Breathe in. Breathe out. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Iwa, seriously. Koa's not going to hate you, okay? So get your butt out there. Confess your undying love to him. Get married. Have babies. Boom. Happily ever after. Don't we have to go to college first? In my case anyway. Koa's going pro and he's going to be the best setter ever and you're rambling. Right. Sorry. Iwaizumi took another deep breath. Then released it. Then. Yeah, I can't do this. Iwa. I don't even know if Koa likes boys. He's only ever dated girls, remember? Oh, he likes boys. Definitely. How can you be so sure? Matsuhana both raised an eyebrow at him. You mean you don't notice how he stares at your arms then blushes? Or how he stares at your abs when you're changing? Or how when you Okay, stop. Iwaizumi stopped them. His hand extended. His face a deep red. Does he really do that? Wait. No. Don't answer that. Matsuhana was supposed to answer, but Iwaizumi stopped them, so they just both rolled their eyes. Okay, so he likes boys. That doesn't mean he likes me. Oh, for goodness sake. Get your butt over there and confess, or I'm going to shove my foot up your ass and use it like a pole to drag you over there. Iwaizumi opened his mouth. Maybe to make another excuse, but then he processed what Hanamaki said and his face crumpled in disgust. You. Move. So turns out Oikawa wasn't at his house, so Iwaizumi still had to look for him, which is both a relief and torture. Relief because he still had time to compose himself before he confesses, and torture because his anxiety is conjuring all sorts of worst case scenarios, which increases his anxiety, which conjures even more bad scenarios. 'Tis a vicious cycle. He found him, in the park, kneeling on the ground, in front of Atsumu. It was a bit weird, but Oikawa's always been a bit odd, which is why Iwaizumi loves him. Mixing him with Atsumu just doubles that weirdness. Okay, Hajime, you can do this. Just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Koa won't reject you. I mean, he might, but he won't hate you. It's just going to be awkward from now on, and then Koa would be uncomfortable with you, then he will start to hate YARG. He must have looked weird talking to himself, then suddenly getting angry at seemingly nothing. But he's honestly too nervous to care. Okay, let's do this. He walked towards Oikawa and Atsumu, his every step feeling like eternity. Eventually though, he reached the hedge near the two males. He stopped behind it, out of Oikawa and Atsumu's vision, but close enough for him to hear them and for them to hear him. He took deep breaths again, trying to calm his nerves before popping out of the hedge like the hedgehog Oikawa says he is and suddenly declaring his love for Oikawa. Wait. Do hedgehogs live in hedges? Do they pop out of hedges? Why are they even called hedgehogs in the first place? Iwaizumi shook his head and slapped his face. Focus. He breathed out one last time before he deemed himself ready. He finally listened on Oikawa and Atsumu's conversation to look for the perfect opportunity to announce his presence. I love you. I've loved you for a long time now, but I just didn't have the courage to tell you. But I can't take it anymore. I love you so much that it hurts me to keep it inside. And I know this changes things between us and you might hate me, but I just wanted to let you know. Iwaizumi held his breath, his face turning red. Oh my fucking god, does he know I'm here? Koa, I love you too. And like you, I can't hide my feelings anymore. Oikawa Toru, will you be my boyfriend? Oh. Iwaizumi's face fell. So did his heart, his hope, and dreams. He swallowed tight as he started to walk away from the couple, his movements robotic. He doesn't know how he got back home where Matsuko and Hanamaki were waiting, but he somehow did. Iwa, so how'd it go? Are we going out to celebrate now? Iwaizumi paid them no mind as he walked past them and just climbed weakly on his bed, going under the covers and letting his tears flow. Iwaizumi bit his lips and clenched his eyes as he pulled his blanket to cover him more, trying to block everything out. He must have looked pathetic. Well, he feels pathetic. He didn't even know Oikawa was into boys, and now that he does, he also finds out that he's in love with someone else. It left him wondering if maybe he just confessed sooner, Oikawa would have fallen for him. This sucks. Now I have to watch Koa and Sumu make goo-goo eyes at each other and pretend that I'm happy for them. He felt his bed shift as Matsuhana sat on the side. I'm guessing it didn't go so good. Iwaizumi let out a wet, pained laugh. Well, I just watched the love of my life confess his feelings to somebody else, so you tell me. Iwaizumi shrugged. He what? Is it another girl? Iwa, you do know that's not going to last, right? Iwaizumi shook his head, still not looking at the two. It wasn't a girl. You were right. Oikawa was attracted to boys. That boy just wasn't me. He confessed to Tsumu, and Tsumu confessed back. Of course he will. Koa is beautiful and funny and brave and strong and smart. Of course he loves him too. How could anyone not? He's just the lucky bastard who's loved back. It took a while for Matsuhana to respond because they were too shocked. When they did, the first thing they said was, "Isn't Tsumu in love with Sakusa?" Well, apparently not, seeing as he confessed back and proposed immediately. Iwaizumi muttered curses to Atsumu's name. He can't help it. He likes Atsumu, really. But as of right now, he can't but feel anything but anger and jealousy towards the blonde who Oikawa loves. Poor Sakusa. I'll just invite him to dinner next time. Not as a date though. He's not my type. Hanamaki stopped himself from laughing. He feels bad and absolutely confused for his friend, but the way Iwaizumi said that just sounded so petulant. Can you two leave me alone for now? I wanna wallow and sulk so I would have the energy to pretend I'm happy when Koa tells me the news. Or when they start going on dates and I'll third wheel. Or when they hug. Or when they kiss. Or when Koa pines and talks to me about how great Atsumu is. How beautiful his thighs are. Basically, if he acts like Sakusa, then I'm going to come home and eat my pain away and I'll be fat and I won't have the muscles you say Koa loves so much, and he'll like me even less, and he and Tsumu are gonna get married and have babies and be the Seta power couple everybody would stan, and I'd be making the best man speech at their wedding as I stop my tears from falling. That's sad. The two didn't leave, still listening as Iwaizumi rambled. Then, Iwaizumi choked out a sob as he wiped his tears. Please leave me alone. The two didn't want to leave, but maybe what Iwaizumi needs is time alone to release his emotions where someone won't see him. Okay. Just call us if you need something, okay? Matsuko patted Iwaizumi's back as they both left, leaving Iwaizumi to cry in silence. Meanwhile, with Oikawa and Atsumu. Koa, I love you too. And like you, I can't hide my feelings anymore. Oikawa Toru, will you be my boyfriend? Tsumu, what? That's not what you're supposed to say. Iwa-chan doesn't even sound like that. Well, what did you want me to say? Reject me, bish? Look, I need to prepare myself for Iwa-chan's rejection, okay? Atsumu sighed as he rolled his eyes. Look, I was not going to reject you. He's in love with you, okay? Have you seen the way he looks at you? Like an annoying fly. No, he looks at you like how Osamu looks at an injury. Not how he looks at Suna. Samu looks at Suna like he's his bed after a long day. Then he looks at Onigiri like he's going to drop on his knees in a second and ask it for marriage. Oikawa sent Atsumu a confused look. The point is, Iwa loves you. He looks at you like he's about to eat you or about to sweep you off your feet and run to nearest wedding person. Wedding person? I don't know what they're called. Oikawa sighed as he got up from his kneeling position and sat next to Atsumu, leaning on him. Still, I need to prepare for the worst. You don't have to prepare for the worst because it's not going to happen. So how about you go ahead and call your Iwa-chan so you can confess to him? I'm scared. Koa. Bish. Lecture me when you gain the courage to confess to your Omi. Atsumu scoffed in offense. Oka first. Rude. Second. Don't call him Omi. Third. This is not about me. Atsumu was about to say more but he was interrupted by a ring. Fourth. Double rude. Oikawa rolled his eyes as he picked up his phone and answered the call. Yellow. Where are you? At the park. What? Hanamaki ended the call. Triple rude. Hanamaki and Matsukoa raised an eyebrow at the sight of Oikawa and Atsumu leaning against each other. Now, they think that Iwaizumi misunderstood something, but the idea of Atsumu and Oikawa as a couple is already planted in their minds, so they couldn't help but be suspicious. They'll still support Oikawa and Atsumu in their relationship if ever that was the case, but there's no way he's in love with Atsumu when just yesterday he was pining for Iwaizumi. What happened? Oikawa raised an eyebrow at them. What do you mean what happened? Well, Iwa just came home crying. What? Is Iwa-chan okay? Oikawa scrambled to get up, panicking as he readied himself to run to Iwaizumi. Matsuhana relaxed at Oikawa's reaction. Let me finish. But Iwa, let me explain. Oikawa huffed as he sat down, still restless. Fine, but make it fast. The three couldn't help but roll their eyes at Oikawa's eagerness. We're doing a lot of eye rolling today. Yeah. Fudge, can't think of any other reaction, so that's why. Guys, focus. My Iwa-chan. What happened? The three resisted the urge to roll their eyes again. First, what are you and Tsumu doing here? Just talking? And what are you talking about? How is this important? It's important. But how we were practicing Koa's confession to Iwa. Why? Tsumu. What? It's not like they don't know. Plus though you were in a hurry. Just freaking answer the questions. Matsuhana sent them a deadpan look before releasing a long-suffering sigh. That's why. What? Iwa came here to confess to you, Koa. He did? Oikawa blushed. Then he turned pale. Oh no. He heard us, didn't he? Yup. And assumed that I'm in love with Tsumu? I mean, who wouldn't be? The three glared at Atsumu. Gee, sorry. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Oikawa sighed as he dropped his head. What am I gonna do now? I don't know. Hey, here's an idea. How about you go to him and explain, then effing confess already? Oikawa looked wide-eyed at his friends one by one, which earned him pointed looks. Well, what are you waiting for? Oikawa smiled widely as he stood up and started running, shouting thank you guys as he disappeared from view. Iwa-chan. Iwaizumi was startled awake by Oikawa's scream and by the door banging on the wall, and also by the sudden body that fell on top of him. Koa, Iwa-chan MSOWWYM na Ryui in nab with Tsumu. Oikawa blubbered, tears falling down his face. Within his run to Iwaizumi's house, he felt happy, elated, guilty, excited, and a lot of things. His emotions overwhelmed him and now he's crying. Iwaizumi and his sleep-addled brain, though, is still processing what's happening. Then he realized what Oikawa's still rambling on about and his brain stopped working. Really sorry, I was just practicing with Tsumu. I was supposed to confess to you. What? Iwaizumi choked. I love you, Iwa-chan. Oikawa sniffed as he embraced Iwaizumi and buried his face on his shoulders, rubbing tears and snot there, trying to calm down. Meanwhile, Iwaizumi's brain is still processing. What? Iwaizumi let out a hysterical laugh, not believing what's happening. I'm in love with you, Hajime. Iwaizumi shivered at hearing his name from Oikawa's mouth, his face turning red. I love you, Iwa. Oikawa sniffled as he smiled at Iwaizumi and Iwaizumi could feel his heart bloom. It felt as if his room got brighter, like the air felt lighter and fresher. He whispered, his voice hoarsened and husky from sleep and all the emotions swirling inside him. Fuck. I love you too, Toru. You're so smart and I love you. You're so funny and I love you. You're so brave and I love you. You're so, you. And I love you. I love everything about you. Because you're so beautiful. In everything you do. In everything you are. You're so beautiful. And I love you. I love you so much. And I don't know how it feels like to live without you anymore. Oikawa choked out a so. Iwa, you're making me cry. Iwaizumi chuckled. I'm sorry. But how can you still look so pretty when you're crying? Oikawa sniffled. That's kinky, Iwa. Iwaizumi roared in laughter, which made Oikawa laugh too. And now they are both just sitting on Iwaizumi's bed, Oikawa straddling Iwaizumi. Iwaizumi's hands on Oikawa's hips as their foreheads are pressed together, both with eyes closed and laughter falling from their mouths. They stopped laughing as they both opened their eyes to stare at each other. Then, Oikawa's smile softened as he leaned forward and rubbed his lip gently with Iwaizumi's, making the shorter male blush. I love you, Hajime. Be mine. Iwaizumi lifted a hand to thumb at Oikawa's cheek. I've always been your Toru. Iwaizumi leaned forward and pressed a smiling kiss to Oikawa's lips. Soft, sweet, full of joy and love. Hanamaki sighed in relief and exhaustion. It's so tiring to be a parent to two Dumbus kids. Matsuko and Atsumu snorted. So Tsumu, when are you going to confess to Sakusa? No. Come on, let us help. No. But no. Atsumu stood up and began walking away. Where are you going? Home. People around me are all couples and seeing you all love Adove is going to make me very murdery. Is that even a word? It is to me. Well, if you would just confess no. I'm gonna go and annoy Samu now. That always brightens up my day. Matsuhana let out a snort as Atsumu disappeared from view. Teenagers, am I right? Maki, you're a teenager. Looking after Koa and I were made me age 50 years. So I'm dating an old man? You. Slaps Matsuko's shoulder. Don't worry, babe. When you die, I'ma be the one to take care of your body. Make you pretty for your casket.